Oh. Mochi is one of the residents at the Gulf Coast Veterinary Specialists, and Mochi is with us this morning. He can also sing September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you remember? Okay, maybe not the words. Okay. Anyway, also happy birthday. And joining me to answer more of your pet questions is Mochi, Dr. Sue Chen, Dr. Audrey Pierson, and Dr. Rebecca Salazar, and Freddles right over there, who also is a Gulf Coast Veterinary Specialist buddy, if you will. All right, back to our questions. We have Mike. Mike says, I have a 5-year-old dog and has always been a bit clumsy, but it seems like he's gotten worse lately. Could he have vision problems? How would we even fix that? It's not like dogs have glasses, but we did talk about it a little bit earlier. Some dogs can have glasses.
Yeah, and knowing what can he see and is that the issue for his clumsiness is challenging. So I always say, start with ophthalmology. I'm a little biased, but let's make sure the eyes are okay and that he can see. And if he is visual and his vision's excellent, then there are a lot of other things that can cause clumsiness, orthopedic disease, neurologic disease, other things like that. If he does have an eye issue, there are a lot of things that we can do. So everything from cataract surgery, we can do corrective lenses in dogs, contact lenses, doggles.
Doggles?
They have
goggles.
They do. So there are a lot of things that we can do to help with that.
Yeah, but the key is, like you said, first of all, we have to get an evaluation to figure out what the source of the problem is, right? All right, Sam says, I know this is weird. I always love questions that start with, I know this is weird, but I'd like to have a pet skunk. I think they're beautiful. Are they legal to own in Texas?
So, I mean, skunks are, I think they're super cute too.
I do too. Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So, but the problem is, like, they're considered a wild animal. They're a native wild animal in Texas, and it is illegal to own any wildlife in Texas.
Yeah, you'd have to have certain permits if you're rescuing things.
So, like things like, squirrels, raccoons, skunks, you're not really supposed to own them. It technically is illegal to own them.
And other issues, I guess, that come with that is that they carry rabies.
Some of them, Skunks are considered a rabies carrier as well as raccoons. And so it's really important to not own these animals because, once again, exotic animals, a lot of them have special requirements, and most people do not have the right type of environment for them. So unless you're properly trained to take care of these animals, you really shouldn't own them.
A requirement for a skunk is to have that bag thing removed, because you will not be popular if your skunk still has the ability to do all of that, to spray you. Okay, Diane said, my cat has been pawing at her eyes lately. Does that mean there's something wrong, or could it just be allergies? And just like we have allergies here in Houston, there's a lot of allergies that pets have too.
There are, and I think because we're in Houston, all of us walk around with some degree of allergies.
Right.
We assume a lot of times red eyes means allergies. And we see it a lot in dogs, ocular allergies, but in cats, it's usually not allergies. So if her cat's pawing at his eyes, I would absolutely get that checked out. It's usually something else going on.
Yeah. All right, Maria, we have a 3-year-old Pomeranian that is the epitome of yippee. Bark collars don't work, sound machines don't work, nothing works. How can I make her stop barking? Short of a anesthesia.
Right. General anesthesia all the time. I think once again, this kind of comes to the point that, it may be some type of enrichment. There are medications that you can give to help kind of pets ease anxiety in a way. And, I do recommend chatting with your primary care veterinarian once again. And if they deem that they need some assistance with that too, they can always refer to our behaviorists because that can be challenging. And sometimes barking too, little dogs like to bark and it can be challenging to, to stop
Get
that.
them to calm down. All right. I just think about traveling. A lot of people like to travel with their pets, and a lot of pets get really nervous about traveling. So doing things that can kind of calm their nerves when they're in tense situations. There are medications that can be given to them, but you got to know what you're giving, the weight of the dog, right?
Oh yeah. And I think anytime you're going to give any type of medication, that it needs to be prescribed by a veterinarian, or you've talked to your veterinarian, because there are some medications that cross over that dogs can get, but there are also medications that they cannot get, and they can actually hurt your pet. So it's very important to have that relationship with your veterinarian so that you're giving the appropriate medications.
Yeah, just because it works for you doesn't mean it's going to work
exactly.
for them. Yeah, all right. Amreen has a question. I think a lot of us have this question. So my dog Avi will eat the same dog food for a little bit, love it in fact. He then suddenly decides he hates the food and stops eating it. When we end up having loads of dog food we just bought and it goes to waste. How do we appease a picky eater? I just kind of like how your parents did. If you don't eat that, you will not eat at all. Sooner or later, that dog gets hungry, right? And first of all, you got to figure out why a dog won't be eating.
Right.
But I've gone through this with my cat and my dog, and then what they loved one day, and you go, oh, cool, let's stock up. All of a sudden, it's like, no, I would not have that.
Yeah.
I have the same problem with my kids, actually.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I was going to say the
If you
same
sit
thing,
there
yeah.
long enough, you're going to get
You
hungry.
better eat
Right,
this.
right.
I think too, I mean, you know, dogs, I'm not sure, you know, they don't talk, so we can't say, wow, does this taste like an orange? Does this taste like cow? Does this taste like chicken? And so I think as long as there's nothing medically wrong with them, they're going to eat because they're going to get hungry. You know, if I'm offered a Snickers every meal, I would probably eat that too.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to think about that.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you about, speaking of Snickers, like feeding them scraps and what that does. Okay, I want to thank our doctors. Oh, wait, in fact, we're y'all about to go. So let me ask you that real quick. Feeding dog scraps.
Not ideal as the sole basis for a diet.
Okay.
And it also depends if they're high in fat or have other nutrients that are kind of off balance, then they can be really challenging when you're giving them a lot. So,
So they make dog treats for, and then you do that in moderation.
Absolutely.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
I want to
It's been a
thank each
pleasure.
one of them. And for more information about Gulf Coast Veterinary Specialists, visit gcvs.com or call them at 713-693-1111. Again, that's 713-693-1111. And you're going to have to fight me for this bird. So I'm keeping this bird.